When an executive spends $10 million on private jets and it turns out being a good fiscal decision for the business and great for employees, man, it's a story I want to hear about, don't you? Hey folks, Mark here with The Rational Workforce. Thanks so much for stopping by. We appreciate you checking out the channel. Today's story comes from Twitter, and it's about one of my favorite teams in all of sports, the New England Patriots. Yes, I'm from Boston. Yes, I'm a homer. Yes, you can see my Fenway Park sign. That's exactly how far it is. There it is. From my new home to Fenway Park in Boston. I love my Boston sports teams. But we've got a great story from Twitter that I think illustrates two things. One is reinforces the fact that I think a lot of times people forget sports is a business and you have to make decisions, you have to make investments based on that. And secondly, sometimes there are things that may on the surface seem a little ostentatious, but when you dig under the surface and get to the roots a little bit, it actually makes good common sense. So let's jump into it. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty. This story came from Joe Pompliano. And if you don't know Joe, brilliant guy, brilliant investor, super rising star in the sports and sports investing industry. Definitely check him out if you haven't. But over on Joe's Twitter feed, he shared a picture of the Patriots jets. And the story goes, the New England Patriots paid $10 million for two Boeing 737-300ERs from American Airlines in 2017. The planes can fly nonstop for 12 hours, costing $20 to $30K per hour of flight time, but the team could ultimately save millions in the long run. Here's why they did it. He goes on to explain the economics of getting teams and all the support personnel and all the equipment from one location to another, and how chartering airlines, it's becoming an increasingly challenging thing to do, because it's not a terribly profitable thing for the airlines. So it's leaving some teams stranded, and it's making some teams take a look at some of the options that the Patriots did, like buying these jets as just something that's smart business. You can see here he talks about how it was customized to business class seating, including extra leg room, which NFL players most certainly need, Wi-Fi, HD screens for in-flight entertainment, a custom food menu with Angus beef burgers, chicken breast, and ice cream, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So another great point, too. This gives the New England Patriots ultimate flexibility, and other teams are catching on, too. All right, let's break this down. So I don't care how you feel about the Patriots. As a Boston sports fan, I'm immune to two things: snatching defeat from the jaws of victory with some of our teams, and number two, just being slammed for being a New England sports fan. Anyway, regardless of how you feel about the team, I mean, this is really interesting stuff to dig into. So first of all, there's like the economics that are involved in getting a team from point A to point B, and all the expenses behind the scenes. I mean, they're real, they're legitimate, they are astronomical. And, I think it's easy for teams that have a massive fan base and, have had recent success, like the Patriots. Definitely not the same team that we had 5-10 years ago, but certainly more success than an awful lot of other franchises, if not every other franchise out there. So you can feel like maybe it's somewhat justified with the Patriots. But what about smaller market teams and teams that maybe don't sell out every game and have the economic structure under it? Even making investments like this can make good fiscal sense when you look at how the landscape is evolving in terms of other expenses that they may have by not going this route. The second piece, and this is where kind of the workforce comes into play, is that, I think that as a fan, here's my personal experience. As a fan, I tend to think about the organization as, you've got your front office, you've got your players and coaching staff and medical and training and all that sort of stuff. But I used to work for a sports tech company, and we worked with D1 and pro teams. So I had an opportunity to see deeper into these organizations and the massive amount of logistics and expense and scheduling and challenges that goes into getting a team from point A to point B and all of their equipment, I mean, it's an absolutely staggering amount of coordination that needs to happen. And when you've got travel assets like this that are exclusive to you and at your disposal, it must take a whole layer of stress and pain away from those jobs. And I mean, it's great for the athletes too, right? There's less running around. There's less, trying to fit into a plane that isn't custom tailored to your needs and the stress that brings. So, when you see stories like this, the knee-jerk reaction, I think, is sometimes, that showy or, well, of course they can do it because, look at all the Super Bowls they've won and all the success they've had. That contributes to it, right? But sometimes the smart business move is to make these big investments that will pay dividends for years and years and years to come. So, I really appreciate Joe Pompliano kind of highlighting this. And, it also makes me like Robert Kraft a little bit more because it not only is it great advertising for the team. Again, let's take a look at that beauty as we close out. It's also a great thing for employees, right? So it just seems like someone who understands the landscape and is taking care of their people. So quick hitter today. Just thought that was an interesting story. Look Joe up on Twitter. Follow him, check out his webpage. And, if you like this type of story, it's a little bit outside the norm of what we typically cover. Let me know. Leave a comment. And while you're here, let's see, click the bell, click subscribe, give us a like, do all the things. We'd love to keep growing the channel. If you like what you're seeing here, tell a friend, come on back and check out our next one. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. With that, we're going to sign off. Hope you have an amazing day. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.